Marvel's newest superhero, brings a bunch of different things to the MCU. It brings martial arts. Marvel's finally dipping their toe into the world of martial arts and martial arts movie. It brings that. It brings another dysfunctional family, which we already seen before, but it brings that back. And it's a new origins tale. It brings back another origins tale that, at the end of the day, does it rank amongst the other origin movies? How good does it sit? Well, we'll talk about it on this episode of Movie Breakdowns. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. And what is Movie Breakdowns? A movie review series where we look at new and old movies, give them a grade 8 through plus or minuses do count. And if there's a movie you want me to review, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to it the best I can. Also for Patreon, Patreon/Ali Zakka. And for $2 a month, you get the cut in front of everybody. And as we review any movie, and I'll put it out there because you're paying for my services. Also get trade reactions, trade reviews, much more stuff. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's episode of Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings, Marvel's new MCU movie. And I do want to mention that this first half of this review will be spoiler free. No spoilers in this first half. The back half has spoilers. I'll put in the comment section when that time starts. But as for now, this is all spoiler free. And what is this movie about? This movie is about a man by the name of Shang-Chi who leaves his family behind. He leaves his family behind, living a life in San Francisco as a valet driver. And a time comes where his father wants to bring him back into the family, and thus from there, shenanigans, very deep conversations, and ultimate father-son dynamic happens in the movie, which is all in the trailers. So I didn't spoil anything. That's all in the trailers. You see in the trailers, and for the most part, it works. It works. The things I do like in this movie is the father-son dynamic, and I like that part. I like that it shows the son doesn't want to be like the dad, and the dad wants his son to be like him. From the most part, it's what the trailer gives you. The dad wants the son to be like him. The son doesn't want to follow the role that his father sent. And his dad is the original Mandarin. He is the Mandarin. He's been around for thousands of years and he is still living his life. The one that you saw in Iron Man 3 is not the real Mandarin. This one is the real Mandarin, which the 10 rings are the Mandarin's weapons that he uses. That's in the comic books. So you know the comic books, you know that this is him. Which we finally get him in the MCU correctly, which is awesome that we get that character done finally right. And Shang-Chi pretty much had to find a way to stop his dad, and he doesn't really get along with his father, which also makes sense. His father did force him to become an assassin at a young age, and Shang-Chi just like, I don't want to be that life anymore. Love that dynamic. I love it. I love that concept of it. Other things I like in this movie is the martial arts. The martial arts in this movie is done phenomenal. Like when you see the martial arts on the screen and how, like in the trailer, the train scene is done really, really well. For me, the first and second act of this movie is solid. Really good. Really good. The third act is where I go, it's the Wonder Woman syndrome. No bueno, no bueno. It doesn't mean it's bad. No, the third act is not bad. But if you're following this movie and you're following up to the point of that third act, you're just like, pause. What is going on here? Pretty much think of your Marvel cliches, your Marvel movie cliches are going to fall in the third act. And for some parts, the writing of it really takes that, where you're just like, this is not what you was writing in the first and second act, and now the third act you're just writing here is different than what it was the first part of the movie you told. I'm not sure I'm down with that. In the spoilers, I'm talking more about that in the spoilers, But this part right here, just like, it bugs me a little bit. It really does. The other things I will say are good in this movie that I do enjoy, the CGI and the beauty of this movie is done really well. The movie is done really well as far as CGI and beauty, like the design work and everything of this movie is pretty cool. I will mention this, that there's been one other movie I watched that made me feel like this should be a Dragon Ball Z movie. And that is Man of Steel. When Superman fought Zod at the end of Man of Steel, reminding of Dragon Ball Z fight. This movie has that same feel. Definitely towards the third act, there's a fighting that happened. And I'm like, this is what I want in an anime action movie. This is what I want in a Dragon Ball Z movie, and this movie does it really well. They can combine Shang-Chi and Man of Steel and have the directors of those two movies, and people would go watch those third acts. I think we can probably get a good Dragon Ball Z movie. And there's actually if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, look out for it. There's a reference to that in this movie, which is not a big deal. It's not a spoiler or anything. There's just a line, a throwaway line that I find hilarious. And also, I'm not sure this was intentional, but Shang-Chi's his outfit is reminiscent to a Dragon Ball Z jacket I seen years ago. The only thing is missing is the logo on the back, but I think his outfit for the most part of the movie, as his normal street clothes, are pretty cool. I like the fact that it just reminded me of Dragon Ball Z, and I'm happy that you do have it mentioned in this movie. Things that I don't like is I didn't like the third act. I think I probably mentioned it. Talk more about it in the spoilers section, and how the movie shifts. I think the movie tone shifts in a sense where your main protagonist, who is a very charismatic, somebody you get along with, want to hang out with. Like there's most of the time I want to hang out with Simu Lee in this movie. I'm like, this dude is a cool character. He is a cool guy. I want to hang out with him. And then the third act happens. You're like, okay. Well, he just another protagonist. So I will say his charisma leaves. The main protagonist's charisma leaves throughout the movie, but then comes back at the end. But for the most part, that third act doesn't show his character at all. Matter of fact, there's stuff that happens in this movie to me that I'm like, the characters should be reacting a certain way to certain stuff that's going on, and they're not reacting. And that's to me just the writing of it. The writing of it is not that solid in that third act, but the first and second act, from the writing is great. The Wonder Woman effect, Wonder Woman 1 effect. I think the writing in the first and second act are great. The third act just like doesn't hit as hard for me. Does not hit as hard for me. But let's go ahead and talk about the cast. The cast and the director. The director of this movie is Destin Daniel Cretton. I feel like I said his name right, but he was the director of it. And the movie, the writers were screenplay and screen story was by Dave Cullingham, and Destin Daniel Cretton also did some of the screenplay. And right now, because the movie just came out on September 3rd, it is gross United States and Canada so far is $101 million, and the opening weekend from September 5th it made $75 million plus. So it's making money. It's not going to be done yet till the movie leaves theaters, but it's doing a good job right now, and I think it deserves it because the cast in this movie, such as Marvel movies, are great. The cast in this movie is not a bad cast. I think everybody does the role perfectly. I feel like when they need to be funny, it was funny. When it wasn't, it wasn't. I think the cast and the characteristics for the cast done well. You have Simu Liu, who plays Shang-Chi. I'm messing his name up every time. Like I said, Simu Liu was a great actor for this character. A new guy to introduce into the Marvel Universe. Somebody who could be a little, not, I don't say sassy, but he could be a little jokey with you, but also serious at the same time. I think somebody to fit in the Captain America role, but he's also an average cool dude. Like, you want to hang out with Simu Liu's character. Like Shang-Chi, Is a character you want to hang out with. Somebody you want to like, hey, let's go grab a beer. Hey, let's go to the movies. Hey, let's go hang out and chill with the friends. Like, let's go do things with. Like, he just seemed like that kind of cool, laid back guy. And there's multiple times in the movie where him and another character goes to do karaoke and they hang out. They're just a good person. And I think he was portrayed well. I think Simu Liu portrays Shang-Chi well. Then Awkwafina, who plays Katie. I think Awkwafina as Katie was another strong character, another good supporting character. She is the other person I was talking about that hangs out with Sean, who Shang-Chi goes by, and his American name is Sean. They hang out and go to karaoke, hang out and go places, get drinks and eat with friends. Like, and she's the one person in this world I think didn't know what was going on and was supposed to be the surrogate for the audience to go through the world with, to see like, this is what everything's going on. This is what the backstory is. Because Shang-Chi already knows the backstory. And there's some parts in writing where I felt like they had the opportunity to use it as exposition plot point, but they didn't. They just kind of let it happen and then come back and reintroduce it, which I get the character playing through stuff through their mind, but at the same time, he knows everything that's going on, and when the movie kind of reveals certain stuff to you, it should, like, they should use Katie more as that person to get told what's going on. We should be the audience experiencing with Katie, as Shang-Chi's already knows the world. But Katie, Awkwafina as Katie, I thought was great. She had jokes, there was fun, she had reaction. Her reaction to me stood out the most to everybody else because she was somebody who didn't know the world was going on and things are happening. She was like, wait a minute, hold up. Pause. Like, I do like her reaction to stuff. I thought she was great for it. Tony Lang, I hope I pronounced his name right. He plays the Mandarin. Thought he did great. Thought he was a solid villain. Another memorable Marvel villain, I would say that. Somebody that you can kind of get behind why they're doing things, and the fact that the lifestyle he grew up in, the reason why he wouldn't take answers or suggestions for other people. If like I was right, everybody else is wrong, no matter what happens until I'm proven wrong. I like that mentality from that character. He was a good antagonistic force to Shang-Chi, even though I don't think people say he's a villain. A dark past, yes, but what he was doing in this movie, he was menacing, yes. Did he seem like a villain? I wouldn't call him a villain. I'll say antagonistic for sure. Antagonist, yes. Villain, I don't know. It's hard pressed to say for me because he didn't do anything that was villainous at this point. He was simply trying to bring his family back, if that makes sense. I'll talk more about that in the spoiler section, but I don't think he falls into a villain role for me. Like, nothing about him seemed villainous. Like, he didn't do anything that really seemed like, yeah, this dude's a bad guy. I just don't like him. It was just like, I have this group of people that I've had all my life, and I want my family back. Michelle Yeoh, who played Jane Nan, or Nan, she went with Nan, sorry, Nan. She is, I thought she did great. I thought she did great when she came in. And the other characters I want to talk about in the spoiler review, but those are the four I'm going to talk about here. So, yeah, I think they was all good. I think the actresses was great. We'll talk more about the spoiler section. Music was solid. Music, like, there's some tunes and scores you'll listen to, like, okay, and there's other scores you're like, okay, they'll go by. Then the music was okay. CGI is 2021. I think the CGI is done really, really well. There's some Dragon Ball Z kind of fights in this movie. To me, they're like, yeah, it works. It pulls it off, and yes, I want to see it. Like, I want to see an actual Dragon Ball Z movie. Please give me an actual Dragon Ball Z movie. That would be so awesome. But I do want to see that. And I will say, what's cool about this movie, another cool thing, is majority Asian cast. This movie's a majority Asian cast, which kind of like Black Panther was majority black or African American. This movie's more Asian, and I think that's also. I love how the Marvel Universe is bringing more diversity into their movie and showing people that movies of different colors of people work, and they can be superheroes. They can be, big screen and work and bring butts and seats like this movie did. This movie brought butts and seats. Carnage, Venom's taking movies getting pushed back up because how well Shang-Chi did. So yes, these movies work, and we should have more diversity in movies, and we're getting it. But I don't know, to me, it puts a smile on my face to see different movies of different diversities work on the big screen, and you can have, an all-black cast as a superhero movie funded by Marvel, funded by Disney, and be great. An all-Asian cast funded by Marvel, funded by Disney, be great. All Hispanic, when we get that one, all be great and tell a good storyline that can be weaved and interwoven into the MCU. So when you get, the big new Avengers movies, you have like, hey, I've seen Shang-Chi before, I've seen Black Panther before, I've seen this in this movie. Let's go, let's get it. I know what their abilities are. Let's do this. So props to that. Props to that. All right. So is this movie we should see in theaters? Yes, go watch it in theaters. Give props to it. Check it out, especially part of the MCU. If you don't watch this movie, you've been following the MCU. You need to watch this movie, because if you don't watch it, you're going to be lost on a few other stuff going forward. Yeah, definitely check this one out. And grading time. I'm going to grade Shang-Chi, and this is where it comes into play as where it falls in the line of top origins movies for the MCU. I'm giving Shang-Chi a C+. Now, why am I giving a C+? The third act for me, what really shifts it, and it brings questions into the movie for me when I watch the third act, it's just like, okay, it really seems like they went a different direction than what the movie was setting up to be, and I don't think we needed what happened in the third act to be, relevant to the movie. But as far as like a big blockbuster film, yes, it looks beautiful, it looks amazing, and you're like, okay, this is happening. But things are happening in this movie that just like, to me, was like questionable. Like, why are the characters not reacting this way? Are they know about this? This happens? Okay, sure, we're going with it. And certain plot points happen that just like, we need to move the story along. Cue this character, and you're like, why are we cueing this character right now? Pause, rewind. Okay, so we're just moving the story along for that point, for that purpose. But the acting in this movie I thought was great. The father-son dynamic and family dynamic in this movie I thought was great. I didn't even get to talk about this when it comes to Katie. Her plot line of being like somebody that lives for nothing gets nothing. Her finding something to be a part of and find something to have meaning. I think that was great, and it's a cool introduction to people. It's like, hey, you might not know what you're doing in life, but eventually you'll find it, and work itself out. I think her storyline was great. So those storylines I think are solid, but the whole CGI third act there just really shifts it for me, for a movie that's usually, for Marvel movies that usually are cohesive in the world they're in and usually do stuff that kind of makes sense. The third act here really just like, as cool as they looked, written wise doesn't follow well to me. Alright, and as far as where it falls in the world of the origin tales, to me this is a better origin tale than Captain Marvel, but not as good as Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was solid. I think Thor had a better... Thor 1, I feel like Shang-Chi and Thor 1, Captain Marvel are all in the same world there. I feel like their origins are all in the same boat. Ant-Man, to me, as an origin tale is better than them. I think Iron Man is definitely a better origin tale. I feel like Captain Marvel, Shang-Chi, and Thor are all right there. To me, I feel like Captain America, First Avenger, and Incredible Hulk are on the bottom of those lists. But this one, I think, and I guess you can throw Captain America, First Avenger, like with those four, Shang-Chi fits in there. So C+, where I finally hit it at 79%. 2/3 of a movie, solid. The last act is just like, So yeah, C+ for me. It's a C+ movie. If you've seen Shang-Chi, what do you think? Or Shang-Chi, I keep wanting to say Shang, but Shang-Chi, what do you think? The Legend of the Ten Rings, what did you think? Please put in the comments below. Now, if you want to stick around for the spoiler section, let's get it started here in 3, 2, 1. Alright guys, let's get into it. Spoiler section here. So, the thing I want to spoil in this movie to me is the sister, Shang-Chi's sister, who is Xiaoling. She is played by, I'm gonna mess her name up right now, but Minger Zhang. I'm so sorry. Sorry if you watch this, but I thought she was solid. I liked her character role. She was the younger sister to Shang-Chi, and Shang-Chi. She was the younger sister, and she ended up leaving just like Shang-Chi did, leaving the family when she got older, and pretty much started her own fight ring in the movie. And Shang was trying to go find his sister. Shang-Chi was going to go find his sister and end up fighting her in a cage fight kind of thing, which also shows Wong, who played by Benedict Wong, an Abomination from the Incredible Hulk movie. Yes, that movie's canon. You guys, you're welcome. I didn't do it, but the MCU did. But they was fighting in the ring, and she is actually the ringleader of it. She owns it. She runs it herself, an underground fight club. And I thought she was solid. Another character hopefully get more of in the future. But for the most part, she was just there. She had some badass moments, some cool fight scenes. She used like a rope and knife kind of combination weapon, and for the most part, I thought she was cool. Her and Shang-Chi, they both have this reaction at the end of the movie where there's a dragon that comes out of the water, and this dragon is fighting with Shang-Chi, like legit, like tag teaming with Shang-Chi and Xiaoling, and they're riding this dragon. They're riding a dragon, and they both have these blank faces on them, like this is a casual Tuesday. And for me, I'm like, what? The dragon came out of the water. Nobody's surprised by a dragon. Granted, we are in a mystical world. So let me rewind. At the beginning of the movie, the Mandarin is looking for this mystical world, and it's something he wants to conquer. He's conquered everything, lived for 1,000 years, conquered a lot of stuff, and he comes across this mystical world and meets this girl named Lee. I don't know his name. I'm now messing her name up. But anyway, Shang-Chi's mother. And like they had this cool action scene, this cool martial arts scene where like you see the two people just about off the fist of combat. They show this admiration for each other. They treat each other as equals in this fight. And she passes away, and he's trying to get back there because the rings are whispering to him. So he's trying to get back there to revive his wife. He believes his wife is alive. But when she gets murdered in this movie, because at first they get together and they start a family, and he leaves his past behind. So this movie is also about, like, another theme of this movie is run away from your past. You can't really run away from your past. It eventually rolls back around, and you just gotta step up to it and fight it, or step up to it and confront it. You can't run away from it. So that's something that this movie talked about that I thought was kind of cool, a theme of this movie. The Mandarin tried to run away from his past by starting a family. He had everything he wanted, but then loses his wife and reverts back to the Mandarin. He reverts back to the Mandarin in order to kind of protect his family. So he's protecting Shang-Chi and Xiaoling. He's protecting them. And they kind of resent their dad because he just made them weapons. He made them warriors, assassins. And, well, actually, he didn't want Xiaoling to become a assassin. She becomes an assassin on her own by learning what her brother and the rest of the assassins did. The Ten Rings is the name of the organization. So when the time came for Shang-Chi to get revenge, in a sense, for the man that killed his mom and the Mandarin wanted Shang-Chi to do this. He goes and do it, kills the guy. He leaves that lifestyle, which the Mandarin's like, I'll let you guys go. I'll let you guys go for 10 years and live your life and before coming back. Because now I want to revive the family back and continue the family business of the 10 rings. But he wants to bring his mom back. His mom, he believes his mom's trapped behind this sacred door in this mystical world. And he's just trying to find a way to get into that mystical world. Well, to get into that mystical world, there's a whole bamboo tree you have to go through. That the forest changes and pretty much because it's a giant maze, and you gotta venture through the maze just at the right time to already get into it. So they're in this maze. They see all these mystical beasts, mystical stuff, but this dragon pops out of the water. They haven't seen a dragon in real life, and they're just like, alright, we're riding a dragon, fighting another monster, giant kaiju fight, no big deal. Okay, we're doing it. And I'm like, at least be shocked. At least be shocked that you're riding a freaking dragon and fighting another kaiju. At least be shocked. But you're not. You're just like, meh, casual. And before this, the only thing of like otherworldly stuff they talked about was the blimp. They talked about the blimp, and so they know that aliens exist and stuff like that, but they don't seem shocked by this at all. Matter of fact, Katie was more shocked by the fact she shot an arrow to the dragon's neck, and shocked by the fact that Sean, when he was regular Sean, was fighting these guys off for no reason. It's like assassin fight, and she was like, who are you? Like, she was more shocked by it than they was. Even though they heard stories from their mom about this place, they didn't think it was real until they met Trevor, who was in a prison cell with them. And he was just there. Trevor from Iron Man 3. He was just there, and he gives a backstory on like how he was there. If you didn't know, if you didn't watch Iron Man 3, this is why he's there. And I'm just like, so he just happened to be down in the basement, and he happens to find a mystical creature that just happened to follow his way to Trevor's room because the Mandarin brought him back on one of his adventures. And that's how the movie had, like, it literally is a plot. It was a plot point that just happened, and it wasn't like any rhyme or reason why he was in the same room with them. It was just, he was there, down there, and you're just like, all right. And Trevor played by Ben Kingsley, the same actor from Iron Man 3, but I'm just like, okay, sure, he is just there, and because Xiaoling and Shang-Chi both lived in this basement, and both lived in the compound that the Mandarin has them at, they know how to get around it and know how to get through places. So stuff was just happening by happenstance. And I was like, sure. You'll think at this point, when you're 20 plus movies into the series, that they would find a way to not just let things happen by happenstance, but they did. And that's why, like, the writing to me wasn't that strongest. There's even a scene where Shang-Chi was having a moment where he's like, I might have to kill my dad, or I have to kill my dad. And it never seemed like he had an issue with killing. He killed somebody before, and he's seen a bunch of kills in his lifetime, but it was like, I have to kill my dad. Like, well, do you ever care about your dad? Your dad show like he cares about you, but do you really care for him? And he didn't have to kill him. He could have knocked him out. Mandarin does die in this movie. He dies thanks to the kaiju, that the demon monster, the soul eater monster at the end of the movie. But yeah. But the Mandarin, as far as being an antagonistic character to me, I felt like he was more of an antagonistic character versus a villain. The reason I said it because he was going after, he wanted his family to be together. He's a widower. He lost his wife, who was murdered due to his own doing from in the past. An old gang came back to seek revenge. And if he never stopped being a mobster, stopped being the Mandarin, he would not have lost his family. But he did, because he tried to have a life of peace, and he's go back into that lifestyle to protect his family. To me, it was like he wasn't really a villain per se. The movie just made him look like the villain. He just wanted his wife back and his family together. That's all he wanted. And then he wouldn't listen to anybody till he unleashed the soul eater, and it was like, what have I done? He actually didn't have that scene. It was like he got captured, and he was like, here you go, son, have my rings. You're now worthy. Which, the final fight between Shang-Chi and the Mandarin was kind of cool, but the Mandarin wasn't smart. He threw 5 rings to Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi couldn't control it. So alright, Shang-Chi is controlling the rings now. And then he throws him 5 more rings. And I'm like, why did you throw your rings to your son? You know he can control it. Also, if they're protecting this gate where the Mandarin is coming to destroy, why don't they have more soldiers there to protect it? So this is the third act. They get to the place where the Soul Eaters are living, and they try to stop the Mandarin and hit the 10 rings. They're trying to stop the organization, and for some reason the people who lived in this land, they didn't think, in the mystic world, they didn't think of putting up more soldiers to protect the one thing that, you know, the Mandarin can get to. And granted, I guess there's a giant ocean lake. I guess they didn't expect him to get past the lake. I don't know. You'd think they just have more people set up there. Not a gripe for me, but it's fine. The first and third act of this movie are great, by the way. I think they've done really well introducing Shang-Chi to us as a, you know, cool, relatable character, and then introducing Katie to us, who they've been together for 10 years, and Shang-Chi is revealing his backstory to Katie, so we get to see it through her eyes. And then going to find his sister, who also happened to own a underground fight club, which makes sense. They are rich, so they will have money on them, especially if the Mandarin is giving them money. They will have money on them. It makes sense how this world happens. But then when you get to that third act, when Ben Kingsley comes into play, Trevor comes into play, and you get to the third act, you're just like, Also, they never taught us why certain characters can, like, use the wind, use their chi to control the wind. They never talked about that. It just happened. And to me, Shang-Chi about to attack a character, attacking Nan, his auntie, who was pretty much airbending at this point. But they go like attack her and didn't really explain, you know, this is the technique you use. This is how you use the word, like use your aura or ki to defend somebody. But he picks it up in the final fight scene and just like, well, this is just another anime movie, because that stuff happens in anime. Anime protagonist learns the ability in mid-fight to defeat the bad guys. Our DC World 1 have nothing but a ton of, you know, comedy videos and skits about anime protagonists winning because of plot, or winning because they get the ability out of nowhere that they didn't know they had. But that's some of the things I want to talk about in the spoilers section. Benedict Wong from Doctor Strange is in this movie. He does make an appearance at the end of the movie, which was a cool scene there. And then the after credit scene, there are 2 of them. The first one, you get to see Captain Marvel and an injured Hulk for some reason. Bruce Banner's in a sling. But they are explaining what the 10 rings are, and there's a beacon that the 10 rings been sending out to somebody for over 1,000 years, so we don't know what that's gonna play into it. And then at the end of the movie, I was called Shaolin, like Shaolin Showdown, but Shaolin, she is now taking over the 10 rings. She is now the head of that, so it went from the father to the daughter, who the father never really looked into the daughter because he didn't really want her going through that lifestyle. But there she is, and she's a martial artist, and yep, she now takes over the thing that the father didn't want to be taken over. So yeah, that's my spoiler talk for this. If I left anything out, please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys in the next episode of Movie Breakdowns, and keep being awesome. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Also, you want to see what else I'm doing in my normal life and other things that's going on, please follow me on Instagram at Ali_Zakka. I'll put it right here around my face. Yep, right there. Also, if you want more episodes of movie breakdowns or grind towards success or whatever it is I'm doing on YouTube, you know what? Follow my page right here, like I said before, the little comment thing right there, And then you can watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns right here, and watch the last episode of Grind Towards Success right there. Other than that, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all. See y'all next time. Keep being awesome.